I don't want my husband's best friend to be around after my husband and his best friend were in a sexual relationship that lasted during the school years and several relationships. I feel like I'm going crazy and I need a fresh look before taking the next step. Obviously, this secret was known in the circle of their friends. I'll start from the very beginning. I met my husband in the last year of college. He is from a very small town and has the same company of friends from elementary school. I used to find it kind, but now I feel so. His best friend was his desk mate in the kindergarten. He talked a lot about her before I met her. Mostly funny cases and childhood memories, to be honest. At first I was a little jealous. He had all these memories and mutual friends with her. He even had a special nickname for her, Pokey. But when I met her, I threw away her worries, until she looked like a terrible best friend from the movies. She always supported me and was nice. She is a cake designer, gave us a wedding cake and gave a beautiful speech. But still, some part of me always felt some anxiety. My husband and I never talked about past relationships mainly because I didn't want to dwell on the past, but in general, judging by what he told me, he was a bit of a jerk in his teens. In particular, his friends sometimes talk about how incredible it is that their company survived the summer of madness. I always assumed that there was some kind of school drama, and that's all, until I found out what was going on. I saw the wife of one of my husband's friends, Gertrude. Gertrude told me something like that she admires how confident I am in marriage, even when my ex is still around. I was confused. I told her I didn't understand what she was talking about, and then she told me, "Oh, I thought you knew about Pokey and Maurice, my husband." I think I was a little dead when I heard that. She continued to tell me about how they fucked during their school years, how Pokey was the first in everything for my husband, and how they cheated on every guy/girl they had then. The famous summer of madness was the last summer of high school. Apparently, the whole company quarreled because some were dissatisfied with their behavior, while others covered them. The worst thing is that it's all over, because Pokey put an end to it. She chose college miles away from their hometown and didn't communicate with my husband for a year. After such a revelation, I talked to Pokey. I shouldn't have done it, but I was very angry and humiliated. I don't want her to be near me or my husband. I constantly think about how they shared everything, about the fact that even our closeness was not really ours. It drives me crazy. Apparently, she told my husband, and since then we've been quarreling. He repeats me again and again that there is nothing between him and Pokey. In his opinion, I react too sharply to what happened almost 20 years ago. The topic is closed and dead, but it seems to me that I will never be able to trust the two of them. Am I wrong?
What happened when you talked to Pokey, whose idea was the wedding speech?
She was surprised, but calm. What made me even more angry, she said that she thought my husband told me about it, and what not to tell her about it. Then she told me to talk to my husband, but if he doesn't limit communication with her himself, she won't do anything. She was his chief best man, so yes.
How long have you known Pokey? Is it a sexy nickname?
No, it's something from their childhood. That's what Maurice and her father call her. I met her after a few months of dating other friends.
Did Maurice and Pokey meet?
They never met, according to Gertrude, as well as my husband. This whole situation was quite toxic. All I hear from him are excuses, some even justified, but I feel that it only aggravates the situation. He calls me cute most of the time. I used to think that this whole story with Pokey was nice and healthy. Now I feel a little stupid.
How did the husband react to the request to stop/reduce communication with Pokey?
The thing is, their group of friends is very close. I'm not used to it. While he works in a bakery, and everyone, including Maurice, goes there for breakfast and lunch. They have evenings of games and movies, brunches and dinners, so they often see each other, while he lives further down the road, and he and Maurice walk with dogs every evening. Maurice asked me not to force him to choose, that he hardly remembers the time when he didn't have her in his life, that it shouldn't have come to this.
About Pokey's past, was she married?
Was. She and her ex divorced a couple of years ago. She wanted children, he didn't. It was ugly.
Did Pokey's ex know about her past? Do you have children from her husband?
Obviously, her ex knew. At the moment she's not dating anyone, but she didn't date a guy for long in the past. Maurice and I are child-free. First of all, I'm angry with Maurice, I can barely be in the same room with him. Secondly, I feel like a child, but I envied and envy her. I didn't grow up like Maurice, I barely remember the people I went to high school with. For me, friends are something else. He had a girlfriend who knew everything about him, shared adventures with him, Christmas and birthdays, family and friends, that's a lot. I knew she was important to him, so I tried my best. I thought that at least I was his first love. It turned out that it was her too. I was mad. Was it right? No. But at that moment she was the epicenter of my rage. Why can't he say that he was in love with her? Obviously, she was his first love, but no, I don't understand and I'm raving. They were confused children, to hell with it. What's incomprehensible about the fact that he left his friends and girlfriend for the summer to fuck his best friend? Gertrude told me about how he cheated on a poor girl. I feel sick at the thought of it. So, things are not the best. Last night I had a big fight with my husband. He went to a regular Friday game. Some of you asked me about it. He and his friends have two types of game nights. One usually takes place on Friday, as most of them do not work on weekends. This is a group event, and they are playing some kind of D&D. They are usually conducted by Andrew, who is a master. There are also game evenings from time to time, when some of the company play video games and communicate. In this case, the number of people is not constant. As I said, Maurice went to play D&D last night. I asked if Pokey would be there. He was annoyed and said yes. I asked if he had seen her these days. He said that he went to drink coffee with some guys, and on Thursday he went to lunch. I got angry, so I raised my voice and asked why he couldn't stay away from her at least now. He told me, I quote, "I can, but I'm not going to indulge your hysteria. I didn't do anything, so I'm not going to act like I'm to blame for something." I repeated that I don't want her to be present in our lives now that I know everything, and he asked what I wanted from him. It's a small town, and we're neighbors. All my friends are her friends. Until we move, we will communicate, and I told him that maybe we should move, maybe we should start all over again in a place where I can trust people. He told me that I was crazy, that he's not going to sell his grandmother's house, which he loves, and move somewhere away from his family and friends just because I feel insecure, and it's time for me to grow up. Damn it, I broke into our room, and he went to his friends. When he came back, instead of going to bed, he started playing on PS. I heard him talking, so I went to the living room. I asked him who he was playing with. I'm not kidding. He played COD and chatted with Pokey and Andrew. He was with her just a couple of hours before that. I asked him to go to bed. He told me that he had to finish the game, and that he needed to throw out his disappointment. I'm not proud of myself, but I raised my voice again and said something like, "Can you even breathe without seeing her for 10 minutes? He didn't even look at me. He just said, "If you're going to make a scene, tell me now so I can turn off the microphone." I slept in the guest room. This morning Joaquim, a friend who works in my office, came and talked to me. Apparently, Maurice told them everything on Friday. He let out steam so much. Joaquim said that Gertrude likes to dramatize. That's why she opened this jar with worms. He assured me that there is nothing between Pokey and Maurice, and that this situation will become a problem only if I create it. I asked him what he meant, and he said, "You married him, you know what he is like." Maurice seems to be emotionally dependent on Poke or something like that. If she had killed someone, he would have dug a hole and helped her hide her body. If you want this marriage to be successful, just learn to coexist. I asked him if he thought Maurice still loves Pokey. He replied that maybe I should ask my husband because he doesn't know. At the moment, I just can't leave it. I feel like a crazy paranoid, but I just can't leave it. I invited Gertrude to lunch on Wednesday. I begged her to tell me everything she knows, because I have to know, but still. I'm afraid of what I find out. It was difficult to admit that I had caused as much harm as Maurice, and it was even more difficult to realize that perhaps there were more problems in our marriage than I thought. I never went to this lunch. After our quarrel on Friday night, my husband spent Saturday at his mother's house. She lives 30 minutes away from us with her new husband. He stayed there all day, and I learned from his history that he took his two half-siblings to the laser tag, and then to lunch. He also took them to Pokey's bakery for dessert. I was furious, but now I'm resigned. He made it clear that he didn't care about my discomfort, so I didn't expect much. I ignored him when he came back later that evening. I just didn't want to quarrel again. He came up to me and said we needed to talk. When I was silent, he said that he regretted that he behaved like an asshole the day before, that he began to look like his father and hates it, and that the least of all he wants our marriage to be similar to the one his parents had. I told him that he ignores my feelings and that by continuing to communicate with Poke, he continues to do so, and that I feel that he does not respect me at all. I tried to explain as calmly as possible how painful it hurts me to know about their past from someone else, be about the fact that everyone around me knows and still hasn't told me anything. I explained that I feel like a stranger, because our friends suddenly reminded me with their behavior that they are his friends, and that I feel that I can't trust anyone around me, because no one told me the truth. Then I asked him if he still loved Pokey and why he kept everything a secret. And then he told me the truth, and, oh my God, I wasn't ready. Maurice admitted that he loved Pokey as crazy, like let's get married, even if we're 16 and we're stupid, but at that time his parents were getting divorced, and it was incredibly dirty and cruel, so his teenage mind decided that love is dangerous, that by opening a relationship, you lose those you love. Therefore, never start a relationship with someone important to you, in his case, with Pokey. He admitted that it was stupid, but I wasn't the smartest kid. He couldn't stay aside, but he also couldn't accept the fact that he would lose her if the relationship eventually collapsed, so they remained in this suspended state until the summer of madness. So far, I'm pretty tired of this situation, but then she found out that she was pregnant, from Maurice, because at that time she was lonely, and stupid teenagers did not use means of protection. I was already shocked, but hearing from my child-free husband that he wanted this child as soon as Pokey appeared in his room with a test from the pharmacy, I was speechless. So I asked what happened, and he told me that 2 weeks after that she lost her child, they were still trying to find a way to talk to their families in his room when it happened. She had appendicitis, and somehow the tubes became inflamed, which led to the loss of pregnancy. He told me that the worst memory was a call to Pokey's mother and his mother from the hospital, when he heard Pokey's screams from behind the door of her ward. Maurice also told me that it was at this moment that he became child-free. He told me, I never want to hear someone I love crying like that again. In addition, due to this loss of pregnancy, it became impossible for Pokey to have children without planning and medical care. That's why her divorce was so cruel. Most of their friends don't know anything. They still think she just had appendicitis. Maurice told me that after what happened, she ran away to the university, avoiding it and almost the whole city for a year. He told how confused and lonely he felt and how much he missed her, not the girl he loved, but his best friend, the one who knew me better than myself, and whom I could always rely on. So when she called Maurice when his grandmother died, he promised her that they would never get into such a situation again, that they will be just friends and nothing more, and so it was. He told me that he would always love her, but everything they had was in the past. He married me and loved me, and that's what should matter. When I asked him if he was ready to see Pokey less often and make other friends for me, he replied that although he loved me, he appreciated his friends so much that he did not want to leave them. He said that after 13 years of living together, I should know this about him. And I told him that after 13 years I should be significant enough. I packed my suitcase and told him that I was going to my parents because I need time, and here we are. I took a vacation from work and I'm still with my parents. It was too much, and I still don't know what to feel. Basically, I'm devastated.